Loss prevention and risk management isn't a topic that many people like, because it usually involves or evolves around damage or loss or the prevention of. And if Alex from the chamber was here, he is to blame for the fact that I haven't used any photographs, because in my last presentation, trying to show why loss prevention is important, I used photographs and they were scary. So I'm not going to try and scare you off, and I'm going to let David stick to the actual loss prevention stuff. And I would like to pitch it around the cost, because at the end of the day, whether we are being proactive or reactive, it does come down to the cost to the owner. Whether you prevent something or whether you actually have to deal with it, trying to mitigate it, you are trying, the end purpose is mitigation of the loss. So loss prevention is not just about the physical measures to prevent a possible loss, as far as we're concerned. I come from an insurance background, and what I do sounds boring, but it is 24/7 insurance, and it is 24/7 of trying to manage. And basically what we're trying to do, I don't know how many of you come from an insurance background or are dealing with insurances in your companies, but if I judge from the faces I know and the people I see, most people, you have a technical background, is that right? Okay, so you've probably been nagged on a daily basis, if not by your insurance managers in your companies, about the importance of loss prevention, and about why we need to be doing it, etc. So it's not just about preventing the loss, it's not about maintenance. For them, it's important because it's not a snapshot. Risk management should not be a snapshot. Losses can be either physical or by way of liability related. And they can be either fortuitous, for which is why you have marine insurance, but they can also be losses that result out of lack of maintenance or maybe error, one that is not insurable. So whilst on one side you have your insurance, on another side you actually have to take money out of your pocket. Both ways, you've got to prevent it, and you've got to make sure that you mitigate. Because either way, you end up with a financial loss. And insurance is a risk transfer mechanism, and that's why it's there. But even though when your insurance responds and covers that, you still take money out of your pocket by way either of your deductible, which means that you're effectively co-insuring with your insurer, or by way of paying money for the increases on your premiums for your losses. Oh, I'm going back, sorry. I did warn you, I'm not good at this. So, loss prevention being the corrective action through risk management to prevent, manage, and mitigate the financial loss. So, effective loss prevention, as far as we're concerned, the way we see it, requires a correct approach to risk management. Because we can have the loss and then we can see what else do we need to do to prevent it going forward or to prevent the repetition of it going forward. But we also need to see why did it happen. And we mustn't see it as a snapshot. You need to be looking at your loss prevention and your risk management as a video. Because if you're looking at the snapshot, I had this accident today, or my loss record looks bad today, what do I need to pay to my insurer to correct it and make it sustainable? It doesn't solve the problem. You need to be looking at this long term. And to look at this long term, you need to rely on your data. And in this day and age where we are in the world of digitalization, data is readily available. You don't need to go back to old files like we used to 30 years ago when I started working. You don't need to start digging into archives to determine why did I have this loss, how many losses did I have, how many were crew-related or whatever. It's easily accessible to you, and it's there to give you the hints and to give you the tools of how you need to manage it going forward. So the things you should be looking at, if you're, say, a risk manager in a company, or if you are the insurance officer of a company and you're about to do the renewals. Happy New Year, by the way. Today is new P&I, a new P&I year as of lunchtime today for us in the insurance world. And you need to be looking at what caused it and categorize it. So you need to be looking, the most important things you need to be looking at is frequency and severity. Severity, when it's isolated, is not really that much of a problem or a concern to your insurer, or maybe to you, because it's usually related to casualty. What rings bells and sets red lights around is frequency of claims. That's when you need to start worrying, when you have high frequency of claims. And how you can, establish that? Why is it happening? I've just sort of brought up some graphs, and these are actually real graphs from an owner, from a ship owner's fleet. We can do the frequency by vessel versus severity. So what you should be looking at is putting your numbers down. How many claims do I have? How much does each claim cost me? And which vessels are the contributors to my picture, i.e. to my loss record or to the money that I've lost in my pocket, out of my pocket, whether we're talking about, say, not efficient maintenance or whatever. So it's easy to pick, to see the peaks on those graphs. And if they go with the frequency, the severity goes with the frequency, then you're fine. But if you're seeing high frequency and low severity, then that's when you're doing something wrong. That's where maybe your people are doing something wrong, maybe you're doing something wrong. You need to start looking at that, because this is what the underwriters are going to pick. Nowadays, the underwriters are not looking just at the quality of your ships. They're not looking how young your ships are. They're looking at who is running your ships. How effectively are they running your ships? They're looking at the moral hazard rather than the physical hazard. And this is in accordance to the type of claims, frequency and severity again. Usually we categorize claims if we're talking P&I, because on the hull is different. On the hull you could categorize it as machinery or casualty, or you can use whatever category you feel that you need to use. In the P&I we do cargo, we do crew, we do collision or fixed and floating object pollution. These are the main categories. And again, why do we have frequent collisions? What's happening there? Why are we having them? Was it fortuitous or was it human error? Is it our crew? Is it us? Is it our ship? Is it gear problem? Another way of categorizing and looking at your numbers is by using this simple pie chart. I remember when I did A-level statistics, because there was simply not enough availability of subjects to do my A-levels in those days, I thought, why am I doing statistics? Such a waste of time. Turned out to be my best ally. Statistics are there to give you the right picture. You can calculate the contribution of each type of your claims to your overall cost, because that is actually going to reflect to your cost of insurance or the cost in your pocket, the direct cost in your pocket. So this again is a spread by type. And then again, you can do it by year. You can see which was my best year, why, what was happening that year, why am I having such big losses that year. And then the most important one, come renewal time, like this time of year, your underwriters are going to be looking at your performance, i.e. your premiums over your claims. Are they profitable? If the red line is below the black one, your account is profitable. You're not likely to get any increases, and in a good market, you may be getting reductions. But if you've got red lines sticking over the black lines, you're in trouble. And that's when you need to start looking. And that's when your insurance manager is going to turn up in your office and say, guys, what have you been doing with your ships? Why are we having these claims? So in a nutshell, and I'm trying to stick into the time, poor risk management will result in ineffective loss prevention. Ineffective loss prevention will result to losses and adverse loss record. An adverse loss record is going to result in increased insurance costs. So whether it's money that comes directly out of your pocket or whether it's money that you're insured for, the fact that you've insured does not mean that it's not going to cost you after that. Your insurance is going to pay when you have, at the time, when you actually have the claim, but it's obviously the cost is going to come back to you. And if it's on the case of P&I, and we're talking big claims, it's going to come back to other members. So it's everybody's responsibility to look after their performance. So as far as I can say, the numbers never lie. Look at your numbers and let your data talk to you. Thank you.